burning. He sees the nerdy student, looking concerned and, afraid of being exposed, quickly turns off the music. "We're friends," he says shakily. "We shouldn't doubt each other." The group calms down, but as John steps back, Bella suddenly collapses, her hands bleeding from the vibrations of the curved sound. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the injured student wakes up. His memory rushes back. John's face, his sudden disappearance, and his terrifying reappearance. His eyes widened in horror. "It's him," he whispers. "John is the ghost." The next morning, the nerdy student wakes up and finds John sitting at his desk, clearly exhausted from staying awake all night. Feeling guilty, he removes the protective spell he had placed on John's bed. Later, John visits the hospital to see the injured student. He smiles with relief when he sees him recovering. But the student's father looks at him strangely, because to him, John isn't there. The father thinks his son has gone mad, shouting, "Help, my boy's talking to himself," and runs to call the doctors. John approaches the student and says softly, "I'm sorry, I never meant to hurt you, I only wanted to help." But the boy, trembling in shock, covers his head and bursts into tears. John lowers his eyes and leaves quietly. The class president, filled with guilt, later visits the teacher's office. "I wasn't responsible enough," he admits. "Please give me another chance." The teacher sighs and says, "There are no ghosts, son. One of your classmates pushed him down the stairs. Tell me the truth. If anyone's bullying you, I'll handle it myself." But the class president denies it, insisting he'll prove that the ghost is real. That evening, John sits alone in the empty classroom. He's sad and lonely, longing to be with his friends again. He's so gentle that he even helps a lost ant find its way back to its colony. When the teacher walks in, he doesn't notice John's presence. After the teacher leaves, John slips out quietly. Later that night, John stands on the school rooftop, staring at the stars, lost in sorrow. The nerdy student approaches him and says softly, "I know everything. You're the ghost in our class." John is stunned. The student points at his own reflection. His apparition is visible, but John's is not. Realization hits John. His secret is out. Before he can speak, the nerdy student assures him, "Don't worry, you'll always be my friend, but you should tell everyone the truth before they find out on their own." Unfortunately, the class president has overheard everything. The next day, he decides to test it himself. He sees John walking alone and asks a group of students if they've seen him. They stare in confusion. They haven't seen anyone. Shocked, the president finally accepts the truth. He storms into the classroom and calls for a meeting. "Everyone, I know who the ghost is," he declares. Pointing straight at John, he shouts, "It's him!" The class falls silent. Some gasp, others shake their heads in disbelief. The president demands, "Tell them the truth, John. Is it you?" John doesn't respond. Then the school guard enters. "The teacher wants to see you," he tells John. John stands up to leave, but the students block his way. "Not until you tell us the truth," one says. John looks at them sadly. Suddenly, the lights flicker and then go out completely. In the darkness, his form begins to change. His voice echoes softly, "Yes, I'm the ghost." When the lights come back on, his face is pale, his presence cold but calm. He continues, "I was a student here 10 years ago. My father, the guard you see now, used to work here back then. I was sick with a rare disease and spent most of my life in hospitals. I loved this school more than anything, but I died before I could finish my studies." He looks around the room, his eyes full of longing. "I came back because I wanted to be here again, to study, to have friends, to feel alive. I never meant to hurt anyone. I just didn't want to be alone anymore." The students are silent. Torn between fear and sympathy, John lowers his head. "I'm sorry for hiding the truth. I only wanted to belong." The class promises they won't hurt him, but anger still brews among them. They accuse him of pulling the YouTuber pranks and pushing the student down the stairs. "I didn't do it," John insists. "You have to believe me." But they refuse to listen. One by one, they step back. Finally, someone shouts, "Leave our classroom, ghost!" The room falls silent. Suddenly, the teacher enters, making everyone take their seats. The guard, deeply affected, feels sorry for his son. Sitting on the stairs and crying, he remembers a flashback from 10 years ago. We learn that he was the one who brought John's ashes and placed them in the classroom to fulfill his son's final wish, to rest in the place he loved most. What he didn't know was that his son would turn into a ghost and remain alone in that classroom, unseen by anyone from the previous class at night. The students gather, divided into two groups. Some are upset and feel guilty for wronging John, while others are angry and want to expel him from the class by any means possible. This happens after they discover that he's a ghost and can appear whenever he chooses. No one knows what to do. The next day, John stands outside the classroom, watching them from afar, but he doesn't have the courage to go inside. He walks away and sees his father cleaning the stairs. Wanting to ease his father's workload, he helps him. Meanwhile, the class president meets with the teacher to ask for the scholarship he was promised, but the teacher refuses, saying, "You couldn't manage the class in my absence, so you don't deserve it." He even insults him, calling him a pig teacher. The class president grows angry angry and blames John for everything. Seeking revenge, he returns to the classroom and tells the others they must perform an exorcism to banish John's ghost once and for all. Everyone is shocked, but the studious student refuses, insisting that John is kind and harmless. Later, the class president hears a rumor that John pushed a student down the stairs, sending him to the hospital. He decides that John must be punished. The students, confused, visit their injured classmate in the hospital to learn the truth. When they ask if John pushed him, the boy recalls what happened, and it turns out he fell on his own. John wasn't at fault. The students are relieved. The boy confirms John's innocence and clears his name. When they return to school, they ask the class president to hold a vote to decide whether John should stay or leave. The vote ends in a tie. Half want him gone, half want him to stay. Suddenly, the boy from the hospital arrives and casts the deciding vote for John to stay. Everyone realizes John wasn't to blame. He was trying to help. The students happily welcome John back. They open the door for him, and he enters, sitting among them once again. Later, the teacher reviews the class list and notices an extra name, John. Surprised, he asks a fellow teacher about it, but she laughs, saying she's never seen a student by that name. The teacher, however, feels that the name is familiar. Searching through old records, he discovers that John was his classmate 10 years ago, the same boy who died of illness. Shaken, the teacher realizes that the class president was right. There truly is a ghost in the classroom. Furious, he goes to confront John, shouting and trying to force him out. John explains that the teacher can see him because they once shared the same class. But when John refuses to leave his friends, the teacher threatens the students, warning that anyone who talks to or interacts with John will fail their exams. Frightened, the students obey. They remove John's chair and ignore him. Meanwhile, the security guard, John's father, is forced to quit after the teacher threatens to expose his secret and humiliate him. John sees his father leaving and feels heartbroken and guilty. Lonely once again, John tries to speak to his classmates, but they ignore him completely. Everyone pretends he doesn't exist. Depressed, John wanders around the cafeteria and library, hoping someone will notice him, but no one does. Even his closest friend, the studious student, avoids him, leaving only a note apologizing and explaining that he's afraid of failing the exam. Looking into a mirror, John notices his body becoming transparent. He realizes he's fading away, soon to disappear forever. The students feel guilty but helpless. The next day, the teacher checks the class list again and sees that John's name is gone. Pleased, he assumes the ghost has vanished, and he's right. Though invisible now, John decides to stay near his friends and protect them in secret. If someone's lunch falls, he picks it up. If someone feels cold, he quietly closes the window. Even the prankster YouTuber, who once mocked him for views, unknowingly receives John's help. John subtly appears and disappears in his videos. Boosting his popularity, John continues to care for his friends, bringing the studious student coffee to help him concentrate just as he used to. The students begin to sense his presence and are touched by his kindness. The class president, filled with guilt, remembers their happy moments together. That night, they notice John's image fading from their group photo. The next day, the teacher brings a fortune teller to perform an exorcism and destroy John's ashes to erase him forever. But the class president intervenes and hands the ashes over, only for the other students to stop him. Realizing John has always helped them, they refuse to let the teacher harm him. The teacher threatens to fail them all, but they stand firm. They won't abandon their friend. At that moment, John appears, smiling. The class president apologizes and tells him he'll always be their friend. John's form becomes whole again, and the students rush to hug him. Crying, they plead with the teacher to let John stay until graduation, saying he helps them study. Moved by their words, the teacher agrees. From then on, John's name is called during roll call. Like any other student, his classmates include him in everything, making sure he never feels lonely again. John continues protecting them, even helping the YouTuber film videos that go viral. Days pass, and John shares countless happy memories with his friends until graduation day arrives. All the students pass their exams and take one final photo together, with John smiling among them. He's finally fulfilled his dream. He made true friends, graduated from school, and can now rest peacefully. Our story ends here. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next drama. Goodbye.